Hey everyone, so a few videos ago I spoke about the enduring nature of a government job, meaning if you are incompetent and you have a government job, don't worry about it too much, you probably won't be fired. I was talking specifically about the SEC and their utter failure to foil Bernie Madoff's Ponzi scheme, while it took a private citizen a few hours to figure out it was a scam a few years prior to the SEC suspecting anything. Then that private citizen spent a long time trying to warn the SEC to no avail. This was an atom bomb of a blunder for the government, yet no one lost their cushy job at the SEC. There were a few reprimands, and that was it. Okay, so I bring this up because I have a question for Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Cortez and every other Democrat or Democratic Socialist that supports a guaranteed $15 an hour minimum wage job with the government. What do you tell incompetent workers? Look, there are a few million people out of work right now that dropped out of the workforce. Many of them are likely great, responsible, reliable workers, but the reality is that there is a near 100% probability that some of them, possibly a large number, are incompetent, lazy, unreliable, irresponsible, etc., etc. What do you do with them? If you guarantee them a job, even if they were fired from that job, which I doubt they ever would be, what stops them from knocking on the door of the federal government again and demanding their job back or a different job with the federal government? Because after all, the law dictates that they have a right to that $15 an hour government job. As I said before, what if they are unreliable, always late, and what if they do terrible or no work at all? What if this was the reason they were having trouble finding and keeping a job in the first place? Is it now my responsibility to fund their paycheck? And what would Sanders, Cortez, and the rest of the Democratic Socialists that support this, what would their motivation be? Is it to really help people who don't want to help themselves? Or is it an easy way to garner more votes? It seems to me that the answer is obvious. This is an easy way to get people to vote for you. After all, who would want a job in the private sector where they are actually held accountable, where they need to perform, where they need to be reliable, punctual, and motivated? Who would want a job like that when they're guaranteed a job from the federal government and they can slack off because, hey, even if they are unproductive and their work is worth way less than $15 an hour, it does not matter, because the source of their paycheck is extracted from the private productive capacities of the economy, so there is not nearly as much incentive to assemble a competent, efficient team of workers within the government than there is within a private organization, especially if those government workers are merely handing out surveys or filing paperwork away or acting as a redundant government drone. This is just another fantastic political promise that is terrible economic policy. Those two things are often the same thing, and therein lies a great blunder of government. There is no limit to the commitments the government can make, but if those commitments are upheld, reality will slap back with a force far greater than any government promise. Thanks, and that's all.